welcome to Riding with Rob. I'm Rob, as usual. So I was having a discussion the other day, and we were talking about how you define what a good car is. Now, there is an old saying that I happen to genuinely agree with, which is that a car is only as good as its brakes. Why is this, you might ask? Well, because it doesn't matter how fast you can go. If you can't stop the car, that's the end of your life. It's just over. You can do 200 miles per hour, but if the brakes suck, you're probably not going to live very long. Or if you're on a road course with a lot of different corners and stuff, if you can't brake, late into the corner and effectively to where it's going to slow down your car without locking up the tires, or going into ABS mode, you're not going to put out as good of a times as a car that will, or be able to, handle the corners as good as you think. Braking really is a huge part of a car, and it's something I think that gets overlooked a lot. Now, if you're the type of person like me that likes to modify your car, you want to make it go faster, generally I'd say, a really good place to start is the brakes. No, they may not make the car go faster, but it will give you the confidence to make the car go faster, or allow you to take that car up to, to really use its full potential of its stock power, because, you're going to be able to stop whenever the hell you want to, right now. So, let's talk about some of the different upgrades for brakes. Now, the worst type of brakes that are out there are drum brakes. Now, a lot of cars have these in the rear because your front brakes do most of your braking. But, in the older cars, they had them actually, that was the only type of braking system they had. So, it's older technology, plain and simple. But basically, you have a steel drum, and on the inside are two brake shoes. And these are pushed by a hydraulic piston out against the inside of the brake drum, and that's how it stops the car. Not entirely effective. Now, disc brakes, which generally you'll find them on the front of most cars. On performance cars or sport-oriented cars, they'll usually have all-wheel disc brakes, and that's really the best type of brakes that there are out there. Now, what that does is you have your brake rotor. It's a big circle, steel circle there, and you've got pads on the outside and a caliper that squeezes those pads against the brake rotor. And that really effectively stops the car, very quickly. But now there's different. Oh man, that sun is horrible. So I'm gonna throw on my sunglasses. But now there's different stuff that you can do to make your disc brakes stop better. And if you have drum brakes on your car and you want your car to stop better, look into upgrading to disc brakes. It is possible to do. Depending on the type of car, you may only have to switch over to a different hub, and that's all, or just disassemble the outside of the hub and put on the rotors and the specific parts for that. But first of all, they have upgraded calipers. Now, most calipers have a single piston that pushes out into the center of the pad. Performance calipers can have anywhere from 2 to, I've even seen these massive 6-piston calipers. And the reason why more pistons is better is because you're going to get a much more even push against the pad, and also more pistons can push harder. Instead of having just one big piston, all your pressure's going behind a bigger piston. You got a lot of smaller pistons. Those are actually going to apply more force, to the brake pad to squeeze that rotor down, than just a single piston caliper would be able to. Now, other things that they make for upgrades is brake pads. When it comes down to brake pads, really the top of the line is a ceramic pad, and then you've got like your semi-metallics, your metallics, and your organic pads. Really the only option that you're really going to run into as far as performance is the different types of ceramics that are out there. There's different high-performance companies out there. Hawk, they make some really good ceramic brake pads. My personal favorite is EBC's. My friend Ken, uh, Twitchy, has a Lancer, and actually drove that in my rallycross video. If you guys ever check that out, it's on my channel. Make sure to. And he's got EBC brake pads on that car. And I got to tell you, with just putting the pads on it, it was actually a great performance brake upgrade. The car stopped a lot better, and it's really surprising, what just the little stuff will do with your brakes. Um, so that brings us, over to rotors. And now, rotors can be solid, where it's just one piece of steel, or vented, where it's actually two pieces of steel. And you'll see, if you look to straight, here's the rotor like this. You'll actually see vents all the way around, and that's good because that distributes the heat away from the brakes. Because what happens when you create a lot of friction at the brakes to stop the car, you get a lot of heat in return. That's just the way it is. Friction creates heat. Science and shit. So, to help alleviate and evacuate as much of the heat from your brakes as possible, they make rotors that are drilled and also slotted and dimpled. Now, if you're just upgrading your street car, back this bitch up. If you're just upgrading your street car, a vented rotor is probably going to be all that you really need. If you really want to get a little extra performance, go with some dimpled rotors. Basically, what the dimples do is they create, where the heat is, a spot for it to go in. Fuck off! Get away from me! Ah, he's gonna ruin my video. That's herpes Brandon Larson right there. Yeah, he's from Wilmington. Fucking weirdo. So, anyways, basically the dimples just create a spot. The dimples create where a spot for heat that's in between the rotors and the pad to go. Okay, so effectively it's evacuating that gas or giving the space that that hot air has to go. Then they have slotted rotors. And what the slots do is, they create another space, a better space for the heat to go if there's going to be a lot of heat between your pads and your rotors. And the reason why they want to evacuate this heat, you might be asking yourself, is because what can happen is what they call brake fade, where the air between the pad and the rotor gets so hot that actually the rotor can't compress that air, or I'm sorry, the caliper can't compress that air down, or it does, but it takes a while before that hot air just gets out of the way of the pads. So when you have these slots, okay, so the hot gases are going to go into that slot, and then the slot goes out, so it's going to actually vent that gas out of the rotor and away from your braking system, effectively making it a lot better. And then the third one they have is drilled. Now, drilled brake rotors are going to be lighter because, hey, they've got holes in them. They're drilled. And basically, it just pushes the heat out into the vents that are already there. When you're getting drilled rotors, do not skimp on these. Because I've heard horror stories of people buying, drilled rotors off of eBay. And, they use them and they fucking crack and shatter and all kinds of stuff. So definitely make sure when you're investing in your braking system, keep in mind it's a piece of safety equipment, and skimping on that's not a smart idea. So, that's your basic upgrades. Now, the only other really thing that you can do to your braking system to make it better is going to be to take out your rubber lines and put in steel braided lines. And, what that's really going to do effectively is, whereas a rubber line, it can expand, under pressure, it's going to make sure that line doesn't expand even a little bit. Okay, it's steel braided, it's not going to expand or move. That pressure, instead of going outwards at the line, is going to go straight down into your caliper or drum, if you're still rocking the drums, and it's actually going to make your braking system a lot more effective. Then they also have different brake fluids. Once you get out of your standard .3, .4 brake fluids, they have actual racing brake fluids, and what these do is they'll eliminate all moisture from your brake lines, so there's no water, because water compresses and hydraulic fluid doesn't. And they're also going to withstand a lot more heat, so if you're going to be doing any kind of racing, even if it's just drag racing, being able to make sure that boiling point of your brake fluid is extremely high, so that way it can handle pretty much any kind of condition that you throw at it. So I mean, that's your basics for your brake upgrades. And like I said, you know, your car's only as good as your brakes allow it to be, and that's an old saying, and it's something that I genuinely agree with. So if you guys like this video, just go ahead and hit subscribe, like, you know, leave me comments, all that fun stuff. I like to hear comments. Let me know what you thought of the video, and be sure to check out my channel. I'm Rob, telling you to enjoy the drive.